thank you very much. We are going to be starting with a third round of panelists. Firstly, I would like to ask for forgiveness. I am used to speak very slowly, but I am feeling a little bit sick, so it's going to be even slower. So after the lunch, it's going to be challenging for you to follow the conversation. Well, we are here for the next round of panelists. It's going to be pretty much focused on another work package driving the creation, the setting up of structures within the university's part of the consortium. CinnovatE is not only about training programs, it is also about new structures that provide or drive innovation and technology transfer within the universities. That's one of the main goals of the project. And this part is going to be mainly focusing on this regard. So we have here Caroline Westberg. Caroline Westberg is program manager in climate and entrepreneurship at University. Lisbeth, sorry, I forgot it. Is Lisbeth Bjerva, right? Is the head of business development at North University. And also Eglė Brezgytė.
Correct.
Yeah, correct.
Correct.
Okay. Which is a coordinator of projects of Lithuania Business College. And also we have online Andrea Beleván, who is program manager at South Summit. South Summit is another partner of the project that was not able to join us in person, but it's like is a key partner for the project, given the fact that they are leading an accelerator program within the project. So after this very brief introduction, I would like to hand over to Carol, which is gonna be more energetic than me, more optimistic. So, Carol, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Juan. Yeah, both of us are coming in from Madrid a little bit sick for this, but hopefully I can entertain you all with a little bit of a story today. So before anything else, I want to begin this talk from the place where my own journey started, as a student trying to make a climate idea real. When I put on my student hat, everything becomes clearer. Because before I stepped into any professional role at IE, I was simply someone who cared deeply about circularity and climate and wanted to build something meaningful. When I arrived for my MBA at IE, I was curious, creative, and wanting to make an impact, full of ideas about how unsustainable our systems are and how circularity can be a completely different way of thinking about the world. I actually didn't think of myself as an entrepreneur. I thought of myself as someone who was annoyed with the status quo and excited to fix a tiny corner of it. That instinct eventually became Ryza, my circular fashion startup. Ryza grew out of a simple realization that people want to participate in sustainability, but the journey is confusing, overwhelming, and often not joyful. I wanted to change that. And building a circular startup in the middle of an MBA while also building the CinnovatE project at IE was one of the most intense crash courses I could have had in entrepreneurship. But here's the thing I learned almost immediately, and this has shaped my entire career journey. Circularity solutions don't fail because people don't care. They often fail because the pathways are missing. Students, researchers, and early founders have passion. They have insight. They often have a strong sense of purpose. What they lack is clarity on how an idea moves from imagination to action, how to test something, who to talk to, and what the next steps are supposed to be. Now, what's interesting about circularity and what makes it even more challenging is that circularity is not one discipline, it is many. It is economics, it is design, behavior, culture, logistics. And it requires multidisciplinary spaces where people can experiment, fail, and try again. And when those spaces don't exist, ideas stay ideas. And this is exactly why CinnovatE matters. This project asks a bold question. What if European universities didn't just teach circular innovation, but actually created the structures to make it happen? Across our consortium, we are developing new training programs in circularity and entrepreneurship. We're creating student support units and incubators, connecting higher education institutions with industry and cities, building hands-on labs, as we saw today, and experimentation environments, and strengthening pathways from student idea to real pilot projects. And as someone who has lived those gaps firsthand, I can say that the difference between an idea that dies in a classroom and an idea that becomes a venture is almost always ecosystem design. It is mentorship, collaboration, nudges, safe spaces, and a culture that encourages you to try. My experience as a student founder, feeling passionate, overwhelmed, and incredibly motivated is what pulled me into the work I do now. Stepping into my role at IE's Sustainable Transition Hub shifted my perspective. I started thinking not only about how I could launch my own idea, but how can we help thousands build their own ideas? How do we create the systems to enable that change? CinnovatE helped spark that reflection. The project made it clear that for universities to meaningfully contribute to climate and circular innovation, we need the structures that are more open, more supportive, and more connected. And at IE, that pushed us to look inward and ask what a climate-ready and circularity-ready tech transfer model should look like at IE. At the same time, IE's emerging School of Science and Technology was developing its research ecosystem. Suddenly, we had scientific talent and entrepreneurial talent inside the same university. But we didn't yet have a shared pathway that brought these worlds together. So we spent time understanding our own landscape. We met with faculty and researchers, students, and teams across technology, business, sustainability, design, and research. And we started to see where ideas were flowing well and where they were getting stuck, often right at the moment when people needed technical depth or early validation. It became clear that a technical TTO structure wouldn't serve IE well, or a traditional TTO structure. IE is creative and fast-moving. Students jump into ideas early, and faculty research spans many disciplines. We needed a model that supported experimentation, early prototyping, and flexible pathways. We needed something much more focused on helping ideas grow rather than just managing intellectual property. So in mid-2025, we began building what is now becoming the Innovation and Technology Transfer Department Office, which is housed under the Center of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, but it is coordinated across many disciplines and schools, including the Sustainable Transition Hub, the Research Office, School of Science and Technology, and more. The goal of this office is to make innovation easier, to create a place where faculty research and student ventures can find support, design pathways for proof of concept development, prototyping, and technical validation, to help people understand IP, but also to give them room to explore open knowledge when it makes sense, and to make collaboration between schools feel natural. And at the heart of this new structure is a pilot we are very excited about, the IE Climate Tech Lab. This is designed to do something simple but powerful. Bring entrepreneurial talent together with real-world climate technologies and circularity technologies. It's a joint initiative between the Center of Entrepreneurship and the IE Sustainable Transition Hub, launched in partnership with Technalia and powered by CinnovatE. Technalia is Spain's leading research and science institution, and students will work directly with real technologies. It's one of the first times we've been able to create something like this at IE, thanks to CinnovatE. In circular materials, textile recycling, clean energy, resource recovery, and even space photovoltaics. This is a little bit about Technalia. And they will learn climate tech fundamentals, explore deep tech entrepreneurship, and get support from researchers in circularity and in the city. Across 10 weeks, student teams will take a technology through a structured pathway, from curiosity to concept, technical review, prototyping, early commercialization, and go-to-market, ending in a climate tech day that will have many investors and industry partners visible to see what the work these students have been doing. And along the way, they learn the realities of climate and circular innovation, the challenges, the technical feasibility, the questions, the uncertainty, and the opportunity that comes when research and entrepreneurship meet in practice. And for IE, this program is one of the first times we are truly connecting research capability with entrepreneurial energy in a single intentional pipeline. And for students, it unlocks access to scientists, technologies, and the tools that they otherwise would never encounter. And for me, personally, this feels very meaningful. I remember being the student, actually I still am, I graduate in 1 week, who had the passion, but not the pathway. Now I get to help build that pathway and build it in a way that reflects IE's strengths, CinnovatE's mission, and what future founders will need to be successful. This is the work that moves us from talking about circularity and climate innovation to actually enabling it. And it's the work I'm very grateful to be a part of. Thank you.
Thank you, Caro. Thank you. I mean, we were in the previous round of panelists talking or listening about this dead valley of technology transfer. I think that this is an amazing opportunity to bridge this gap with a very innovative approach. Okay, thank you. We're going with Eglė. Eglė, you are going to be talking about the Sustainable Entrepreneurship Incubator, also the innovation support and tech transfer at Lithuania Business College. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. I will talk. I'm going to talk about both topics in a row. So. What we are doing thanks to CinnovatE project in Lithuania Business College. First of all, CinnovatE represents a transformative approach to strengthening innovation capacity in higher education institutions as well as in our college. And how we are thinking, the thing that it goes beyond temporary initiative, because we are aiming to create permanent, sustainable framework that connect education, research, that is very important to us, and business to achieve real-world impact. For work package 2, where we are leaders, we want to make this transformation by reshaping how higher education institutions support innovation, entrepreneurship, and technology transfer. What we've done so far in the framework of CinnovatE project, we made pilot assessment of already existing structures, innovation and technologies. And we, by creating this evaluation, we try to assess, to pilot existing support systems, infrastructure, and organization capabilities in 3 Lithuanian higher education institutions. That followed and showed a lot of interesting insights that came up and ended with the publication and to be continued. What we found. So we identified critical capacity gaps, resource limitations, and areas that require strategic development in some of these institutions. And we find out how we need to develop and improve. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's better, yeah.
and how to tailor these structures to enhance innovation capacity and sustainability. That is the main goal. Thank you. That's more convenient. So what we expect after implementing this work package? These are key deliverables expected for our institution, not for consortium partners. So we are going to establish Innovation Support Office and Incubator. We already started tailoring specialized short programs for these incubators. We already started mentoring and some aspects of acceleration. Even at the moment in Lithuania, in our premises, we are having a mentoring session now with mentors. So it's ongoing, and we expect to continue in this vibe further. Again, we are shaping advanced courses that will be implemented within these structures. Phase 1 achievements, for those who are not aware about the project phases and deadlines. So we are going to end phase 1 in the end of this year. And what we delivered, what we achieved during this phase. As I said, we made this pilot assessment that led us to design assessment tool that would be valuable or valid to assess existing structures for investment and technologies transfer in any higher education institution in this sector. We launched initial versions of new support structures that allows us real-world testing and refinement. What is crucial is sustainability integration within this structure, because we need to focus on circular economy and sustainability and green agenda. So we are going to embed circular economy principles into all the study programs, all the courses and activities. And we are going to launch and to develop this in all the units, all the departments of the institution. So it's across all the higher education structure that we have. About our approach, it's grounded in the knowledge triangle framework with the research, education, business that are crucial pillars for designing these structures, because without collaboration of these three pillars, the structures are not going to work as we are willing to. So this model, knowledge triangle, education, research, business, ensures that knowledge flows seamlessly between sectors, creating value for all the participants and enhance their roles in the structures. A little bit about pilot evaluation highlights. As you see, the strategic alignments, circular economy integration, transfer capacity, resource availability, stakeholder engagement, seem to be very important for these structures and for transferring innovation and technologies. These structural changes implemented through Work Package 2 are going, I cannot say that it's already done because we only finishing phase 1, as I mentioned. So it's going to create lasting impact that extends beyond the project timeline. At least this is our wish. As I said, not temporary, but permanently. And in regards of this, our Lithuania Business College, which has already a branch in Vilnius, in capital city of Lithuania, has a vision that and positioning ourselves as a catalyst for regional economic development and sustainable innovation. And these pilot findings only proves that we need such a structure, and we are going to be pioneers, at least in our region. Next steps for 2026-2027. Because what I said before, it was theoretical part of the shape and design of this structure. So in coming 2 years, we are going to formalize Incubator and Tech Transfer Unit in legal basis. Also, we are going to establish permanent organizational structure with the staff, human resources, governance, and sustainable funding mechanism. That's very important. We are going to expand mentoring and summer schools to scale up successful pilot programs to reach more participants and to enhance entrepreneurial capabilities across the region. And of course, we are going to track to monitor our progress. So we are going to implement comprehensive KPI tracking and monitoring system for our startups that we are going to support, for courses delivered, and for all the partnership that we are going to establish. Expected outcomes by 2027. That will be the end of the project. So by the end of this year, Lithuania Business College are going to achieve transformative changes across multiple dimensions. These targets represent ambitious yet achievable milestones, and that are new structural units that provide permanent innovation support office and technology transfer that will be embedded in institutional structure. And we are going to establish two new structures. We are going to train over 100 students and staff who will participate in entrepreneurship and circular economy programs each year by 2027. We are going to have 5 startups accelerated by 2027 that will launch sustainable ventures, receiving comprehensive mentoring and support through incubator programs. And we are going to achieve 3 international collaborations. That's strategic partnership that we call with European institutions and innovation networks. This is this is our vision. It's a bit covering the first somehow first sentence, which is very important. So we're going to become regional hub for sustainable entrepreneurship, and through the CinnovatE project, this is very important. We are not simply adding new programs, new courses, or new facilities. We are fundamentally reshaping our institution's DNA to ensure that every student, every educator, every researcher and partner benefits from this ecosystem where sustainable innovation flourishes. So, yeah, this is our vision that we already created. This is commitment to the future, and I would like to talk to all of you, maybe in our last meeting in 2027, about the status of our structures. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Eglė, thank you very much. It's, very grateful. I'm very grateful of watching or seeing, of seeing your advancements in setting up these new structures that are going to be drivers of innovation for your institution. So we have the pleasure of having Andrea Beleván, who is project coordinator from South Summit. As said, they were not able to join us in person, but they are leading a very important work package for the project. They are running an accelerator program. Andrea, could you tell us a little bit more what are the advancements and the main tasks you have implemented during this latest phase?
Yes, of course. Hi. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm going to quickly share the slides that we prepared. Let me know if you can see them. Is it working?
Yes, we can see them.
Perfect. So, well, just to introduce myself, I'm Andrea Beleván. As you mentioned, I'm program manager at South Summit. And basically, just to give a little bit of context, South Summit is one of the leading entrepreneurial networks in the world. We are present in, of course, Spain, in Europe, in Brazil, in Latin America, and South Korea, in Asia. We have a very well-established network of founders, which are our main actor and one of the reasons why we started doing South Summit 15 years ago. And when we heard about this opportunity of coming together to promote both circular economy and sustainability, we designed this program, especially focused for early stage founders and seed founders. And we wanted to create an experience for startups that was both, they had received a lot of knowledge, but also they could have a tangible experience, a very immersive experience using the space we have here at South Summit. So for us, the process started in May of this year. We did a call for startups. We had around 41 applications of startup founders from multiple countries on early stage and seed stage, focused on deep tech and climate tech. And we selected 5 startups. They come from different countries as Germany, Spain, Italy, Sweden. And they are mostly focused on mobility, energy optimization, circular economy, and of course AI, and how to optimize different services. And these 5 startups were selected to participate both in South Summit and also in an acceleration program I'm going to tell you in a bit. So for the first part, that was the stage 1 of the experience. They were all brought to South Summit. We helped them come. We covered all the costs. They participated on the 3 days of the event. The event was in June. And they had the opportunity to pitch on stage. We are very known in South Summit for a startup competition, so they had this opportunity to bring their pitch on stage. They had an amazing panel of investors giving them feedback and participating as juries, like, for example, Carbon Capital, Draper V1. They all met with these startups They also had the opportunity to create valuable connections with investors that come to South Summit. In my case, personally, I'm very close to the South Summit program, so we connected them with all the top managing partners that we bring to South Summit internationally. And they also had a booth, so they could engage with our audience further on and position their brand. So that was more their on-site experience. And as I mentioned, this was for them to hear a few pictures of the 5 startups, but they had this unique experience of leaving the South Summit as a startup finalist and get all the perks that come with that. And then later on, we launched this masterclass series that from deep tech markets to market impact. And this series of classes, of sessions, they were directed by Alex Barrera, who he is a serial entrepreneur. He's an expert in the technology sector, and also he's one of the most renowned persons in South Summit that's been with us with the South Summit Startup Competition. So he's very well related to founders. He helps every year all the South Summit finalists to prepare their pitch, to prepare their value proposition. So he works very well with startups. So that's why we selected them. We started these sessions on October 9th. They were online sessions that could be viewed later. So it was very flexible for all the founders. It was an 8-week program, and we talked from deep tech to AI to regulation to policies in the European market, especially things and tools for scalability. And something that was really interesting is that we worked very closely with South Summit speakers to also join these master classes. For example, we had Andy Lurling, that's a managing partner from Lumolab, and he connected to give a deeper perspective on scalability and circularity. We had Arribes, that it's a very big organization of space tech here in Spain. And we had one of the main people from Arribes talking about regulation. We had Enagas, that's also a very big corporate on electricity that has open innovation. And we brought them in the middle of the classes to bring their own perspective on how to create innovation with corporates. So we try to bring as many points of views as possible and give them the most nurturing experience throughout everything that South Summit has to offer. And then the last 2 sessions, they got the opportunity to curate their pitch, to work it even more after the experience they had on the event in June, and receive direct feedback from all of these participants and our investors. And here you can see a quick, short summary of what this program looked like. We had, as you can see, from sessions about climate tech and sustainability trends to sessions about materials, batteries, recycling, then we more on the policy side and regulation, and then the last 2 were more focused on their pilots, their narratives, and their pitch, and it was very interactive sessions. I think that's one of the most important things, and the takeaway to close this is that we try to create the most immersive experience possible, giving them the opportunity to be present at South Summit and also have these interactive masterclasses. And yeah, that's kind of what we worked on this year. And thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Very, very insightful, and thank you for joining us online. If I may ask you to stay until the end of the panel. Yeah. So we have next Lisbeth. Lisbeth is the head of the business development at Nord Innovation, which is an agency. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's a tech transfer office owned by Nord University.
Yeah. So you are going to be talking about the innovation mapping across faculties and a national network seminar on student innovation. We are very keen to listen to you.
Okay, could you just turn that a little bit? Thank you. Yes, so innovation mapping. So in Work Package 2, we were looking at how we can strengthen our innovation ecosystem. But we wanted to take a step back, and before we can start designing new initiatives, we actually need to understand the situation of where we are today, and we had a lot of assumptions, but we wasn't backed by data. So that's why we sort of stepped back and created this innovation mapping system. why did we do it? First of all, we saw that a lot of innovation was happening in silos. And what we mean by that is that academics at our university, at least, and it might be similar for many of you guys, is that they tend to work and interact with the ones in their own faculty or department. It was limited cross-faculty collaborations, and it was also something that people were missing. And we also needed to have a guided strategy for how to take this forward. So the mapping itself looks like a survey. And based on this, we had a lot of interesting findings. And first of all, the very good news is that there were a lot of innovation happening, which we had assumed. But, it's fragmented and it's often person dependent. So it's, these one or two key people in the research group, in the faculty that were sort of driving the innovation. And it wasn't something that was happening across the university. We also wanted to structure or finding out what was the barriers, because if we're going to solve this and drive innovation, we need to know what is actually stopping it. So we mapped the barriers and we found out that it's 3 main things. And I guess there's no, it's not shocking that it's time, structure, and money. And also we saw that the staff wanted interdisciplinary areas because, again, they want to work more and collaborate, but they actually don't know each other. What is specific about our university, which is located in Bodø, and for those of you who don't know, it's in the north of Norway, right above the Arctic Circle. To get to our next campus, you have to take a plane. You can't walk. It's a 1-hour plane ride plus 2 hours of train. So our university is very fragmented, which is also part of this working in silos, and that it's a bit fragmented. So I just wanted to show you some of the findings we had from this innovation mapping. So obviously it's a lot more, but I thought we could focus on 2 just because of the time. So this is the list of barriers. Lack of time and lack of funding were the 2 that I think 90% of everyone who replied to the survey reported as their top ones. Next one, it's obviously that there was some rigid structures. I mean, lack of interest, and lack of willingness is harder to do something with. But the good things about having mapped the barriers is that these are mainly structural. It's easy to put in place systems that can actually help solve this. It will take some work, but at least we know where to start. Second of all, we also wanted to see what type of innovation are happening, because when we talk about innovation, we often don't define what it is. And innovation means something completely different for a sociologist and a nurse and a finance analyst, right? They have different impressions of what it is, and they work on innovation in different ways. So for us, it was very important to understand what types of innovation are our academics working on. So we see here that social innovation was one of the top ones. You can see it's a bit hard to see because it's small, but social innovation was actually the one type of innovation across the whole university that our academics are working on. And conceptual innovation, technical innovation, etc. Coming from the tech transfer side of the university, I was expecting more product, more tech, but I'm very happy to see that there was a lot of social innovation as well. So knowing that, having mapped it, we could then, when we started to actually implement things, programs, actions, we did have an idea of what our academics were missing. And that will also influence part 2 of the CinnovatE project, because now we have sort of data to back everything we're going to do going forward. But we started with just a workshop. We called it Arctic Challenge Workshop, where we did, I was about to say, where we took all the barriers and what the academic had already reported, and we tried to put it into a session. So we had 70 people sign up for it, which is good for our university. We wanted to make it creative and sort of that the academics could build relationships across faculties and disciplines. So this is the types of challenges we had. I know it sounds dramatic, the day the internet died, but we wanted to have challenges that are both, touches on circularity, but also are relevant for us being located up in the Arctic, and that they could work collaboratively with, not dependent on their background. So everybody can actually work on this. So for instance, in this one, we had the teams of 3 different faculties, I think it was, in a team, and they actually sit down and they work out a solution to this. And what they saw, because we also used the design thinking method they actually got to design and they got to build little things. And, it was so impressive to really see how they could play on each other's background and come up with viable solutions. So just having tried this, we're seeing that this is something we're going to do and scale it a bit more as well going forward. Let's see. Yeah, just what's next? Definitely keep going on the interdisciplinary areas. Also, it says here, clearer innovation support. And what I mean by that is that the academic needs to know who to talk to and where to go. So it's a job both for us in the TTO to actually showcase our services more across the university, but also linking that back to student innovation as well. I think the culture overall needs to be strengthened. It needs to be both a top-down, but also a bottom-up focus on innovation. It can't just come from, a few people working with tech transfer and a few people working with student innovation. It needs to be a cultural shift as well across the university. And obviously implement new initiatives for circular economy innovation going forward. Okay, should I just keep going?
Yeah, well, yeah, you have another one, right?
I have another one. So everything I just presented is from the tech transfer side of things, so innovation with the employees, and now I am switching to the student side of it. So I'm presenting on behalf of my colleague Lina, who unfortunately couldn't be here. So this is, right now I'm not Lisbeth, I'm Lina, okay. Yes, but what they were going to talk about is something called the Ally Network. And the Ally Network it consists of every single university, incubator, accelerators in Norway working on student entrepreneurship. It's a network that was established in 2022, and it's been driven by Nord University. The inspiration came from something called Babson Collaborative, and Babson is a university in Boston in the US, and Nord and Engage specifically has been a partner there for many, many years. And what you do is that you get together sort of the drivers and the key people within student innovation, and you work together and you create this collaborative approach. So as I said, Nord has then established this Ally Network where the rest of Norway is part of it. It's really about sharing best practices, because we can see that we do something really good, but another university has something other. And we need to have arenas where we can meet and talk about this thing. So Ally is one of those arenas. We had a session in Bodø in November where we had the 20 people come up to Bodø, and we had a 2-day seminar together. One of the things that we have seen based on this network, which is really amazing, is that we had a lot more application for something called Student. So it means student grant, where our student can apply for up to 1 million kroners from Innovation Norway, which is a government-funded grant system. So that's an amazing outcome. And the physical seminar. I'm sorry, I'm jumping a little bit because, But so, they have monthly online meetings. They also found that it needs to be a continuation. So they need to have a set agenda where they meet often. And then In Bodø, as I said, it was 2 days. There are some activities here, what they did. So in overall, it was presentations from everyone. We had a very interesting debate about circular economy as a driver for sustainable student projects, where we had both academics, we had students who's actually started their own businesses at Nord University and have a circular focus come in, and we also had PhDs and businesses from the local ecosystem come in. So it was a very nice arena where they could all meet together and talk about it. Here are some photos from our innovation lab in Bodø. And what we want to our message by bringing this up and related to CinnovatE is that this is one of the things we see in that are strengthening our innovation ecosystem. And we need to have a strong both for academic innovation, but also for the students. Thank you.
Thank you, Line. So we have the last intervention from Marko Milovanovic, who is a unit tutor at AA. Sorry, he was not able to join, but he has recorded a video. We are gonna be watching it.
Hi everyone. If we take seriously everything we teach about climate and social responsibility, what kind of support do we actually offer to the people who leave our schools and try to build practices that live up to those values? Out of that question and out of a long dialogue with Ingrid Schroeder, Chris Peers and other colleagues at the AA, the idea of the AA Architecture Incubator has started to take shape. I should say from the start, this is a work in progress. Think of it as a young organism that we are testing with some clear convictions and a lot of space to adjust as we learn. There are really two levels. The larger umbrella is a future in which the AA can host a more continuous support structure for emerging and evolving practices. That might mean closer ties between teaching and practice, shared workspaces, mentorship across generations, access to schools' networks and infrastructure, and then some form of platform where clients and collaborators can find architects who are trying to work in responsible and inventive ways. Within that broader horizon, the concrete first step we are building now is a series of professional masterclasses that launch in 2026. These are small cohort 4-day sessions that will sit in a pair of beautiful Georgian rooms at the AA and bring together practitioners, clients, commissioners, developers, curators, basically people who actually make decisions, and then architects who are trying to start, reposition or scale a practice. We are starting here because this is something we know how to do as a school. We know how to put the right people around the table as it's happening now, and how to keep groups small enough that everyone can actually learn. Our thinking is anchored in two very basic pillars. The first is how your work is read in the world. So identity, narrative, visibility, the way in which a practice shows what it stands for and how a practice or a business is structured and shaped in order to deliver that. And the second is the ecology of clients, collaborators, how you meet them, how trust is built, how one commission becomes 3. When you speak to younger practices, these are the pressure points that return again and again. So the 5 masterclasses map a kind of arc. In July, we start with 2 paired sessions. One looks from the practitioner's point of view at the founding story of a practice, that very fragile moment when intuition has to become structure. And the other looks from the client's side at breakthrough commissions and how opportunities appear, how risk is perceived, how confidence and care translate into repeat work. In August, there is a leadership-focused masterclass, so more speculative, looking at innovation, finance, technology, circularity, and all the other conditions that shape what a practice might become over the next decade. In September, we repeated the double lens at a later stage of development of a practice. So one masterclass is for practices that are trying to break beyond their current scale without losing identity. And the other masterclass is for major clients and institutions to speak frankly about how they choose and sustain relationships with designers. Circularity runs through this even if we don't always name it. Circularity has become a buzzword, we know that. I was recently a judge on the Architect Journal's Architecture Awards, working around projects where the word circular was repeated over and over again. It sounded good the first time, but then it quickly becomes evident that it was a PR firm who perhaps told the architect that repeating the word might get them the award. But then we visited a project where no one really mentioned circular, but you could see a real circular logic in the collaboration between client, contractor, and architect, in how materials, labor, and maintenance were thought through together over time. It reminded me that basically we must be both rigorous and expansive in how we think about circularity. At the AA Architecture Incubator, we are asking how to build practices that are resilient rather than extractive. We're also asking how the knowledge inside the school can circulate differently so that alumni, current students, staff, and external partners do not sit in separate boxes but can really form something closer to an ecosystem. And crucially, this is only the first layer. The ambition is that over time these masterclasses plug into a wider support system. We're very aware that many incubator models in architecture have struggled. They launch with a fanfare, but then slowly fade when initial funding ends. So our instinct is really to build something lighter and more modular, which can grow gradually, sustain itself through genuine value to the participants, and hopefully remain closely connected to teaching and research rather than becoming a separate bubble. And so, yes, that's what it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marko. This seems to be a very ambitious, impactful initiative. Also very, very smart to start from, something lighter and try to make it more structural afterwards. So congratulations to the AA for that. It's round for questions. I will open the floor to ask you about, it is something that I am sure that we all share, this challenging silos work. How could we and how did you manage this, transversal role, trying to leverage innovation across different units, breaking these silos? Do you have any?
Yeah, I'm not sure we have, it's not a work that's completed, but we started. And I think putting focus on it was the first step because you need to talk about it. And the academics are aware of it as well. And when we, on top of that, come and talk to them about innovation, and we try to communicate with them in a language that they recognize as well. I would never go into an academic network of social scientists, for instance, and talk to them about patenting and commercializations and IPR because they would not listen. So I think it's two things. It's about putting a focus on it, focus on innovation, and to communicate with their own words and in a language that they recognize. And obviously having the arenas as well where they can meet. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I wonder how important was, what you are showing these initiatives, you are launching Eglė, Caro, Lisbeth. How important for these, bridging these connections with the private sector? Do you have any sort of private sector gathering together with your academic staff? How do you handle these ideas transfer market needs to the academics, and also try to bridge this gap.
No, I think that topic has come up a lot today as we've explored the role of different stakeholders in the ecosystem and the private sector playing a key role. And I think at IE, we do, a lot with industry. I would say what we're trying to do, for example, with the Climate Tech Lab is really exposing students to industry problems and applications of technologies so that they can understand what the commercialization process looks like with real market needs. It's a bit of an experiment, I would say. I think there's, so many different stakeholders that go into bridging the valley of death, not to sound like a broken record today, but it requires policy, government, private sector, universities, and many more stakeholders in the ecosystem. So I think bringing together those stakeholders around a table to ideate on solutions or applications of the technologies that we're bringing to this lab will be really valuable for all of the stakeholders involved.
Yes, as I mentioned, and Caroline said, business industry is a main actor, I would say, in this ecosystem. And we've been discussing a lot during the breaks about new education paths, methods, challenges, and I said that with the AI, we're living in the era of AI. We need to change assessment assignments for the students, and here business and industry again showcases a very important role for that, because we are going to the challenge-based education, and business and industry give us these challenges for the innovations and ideas for the innovations. So there is no way that it would be not. It's as I said, and we can agree, all of us, that it's a main actor in this knowledge triangle or in ecosystem.
Okay, thank you. I would like to open the floor to any questions from the audience. Is any of you having any concern? Yeah.
We've been talking about structures, and I'm always trying to bring the words into the domain that I understand, architecture. No, and there is a wonderful book called Structure Systems by Heino Hengel. It's the Bible of every possible architectural structure and what they do, how big they can be, how much you can span, what are the materials. And I wonder if in the world of academic structures or business structures, is there a kind of a compendium of different models that we can adopt? I was in the Krakow IVAP workshop, and we were we heard this idea of don't try to reinvent the wheel. So I wonder if there are models in your experience that work, and how can we just replicate them at different scales?
I think that's a good one. Lisbeth or Carol, Eglė, do you wanna answer?
For more experienced partners.
Yeah. Don't reinvent the wheel. Then you would create too much work for yourself. No, I think there are a lot of things that's tried and tested and that you can start with. we have learned, what we have find is the best for us is to learn from others. Like we've been part of this European networks, for instance, for tech transfers, for student innovation, etc., where you can share best practices, finding institutions or universities that are similar size and similar faculties as us and talking to them has really been, I think, the best advice we can give, and learn from their mistakes and then try to implement what has worked best. Yeah.
Yeah, second that. I think as we were designing what technology transfer looks like at IE, we looked around a lot at what were the models that top universities are looking at, as well as looking internally as to what makes sense for us. And the same goes for, I think, a lot of the entrepreneurial structures that you build. There's a clear formula in a lot of ways for entrepreneurship that I think can be replicated, of course, adapted to the industry and the university, but it's, don't reinvent the wheel when you're building an incubator or an accelerator. I think that there's many models that have proven very successful. And so I think looking at those models and adapting it to what your unique needs are is a good path forward.
I just can repeat. In Lithuania, we have saying not invent a wheel, but invent bicycle. So we are not going to invent bicycle or wheel. We are going to learn from the best and from their mistakes.
Juan,
Yeah,
I had a question here. Because as you were presenting, and then Marko at the very end was talking literally about young practices, right? So there are different audiences. And I think, Lisbeth, you were talking about disciplines. So in a way, it got me thinking, who are we talking to? And if these innovation transfers are oriented to different mind frames. Can you perhaps talk from that point of view very briefly? Like, what are these constituencies that you are also kind of shaping up? Because I understand it will tend to transdisciplinarity. We are struggling with that perhaps a bit more. We are more like trying to say our students need to step up their projects. So from our point of view, like we're very eager to learn how to kind of grow that model into something that is more sophisticated.
Yeah. So, do you have any? Do you wanna?
Tips.
Thanks, Anna. Yeah. Do you wanna? No, go ahead.
Well, I think it was interesting hearing your perspective and how you ran the survey, actually, or the assessment to understand where the pockets of innovation were happening already. And we did something very similar, I would say, from a student perspective. So maybe taking those two combined strategies, because there may be a lot happening already that you aren't even aware of. And we find that happens often at IE because we're such a big university. So we discover new things every day that are going on, which is really incredible. But, we ran, for example, focus groups with students that were already working in this space and the challenges that they faced internally. We identified projects led by faculty to understand what are some of the barriers they face. Maybe a little less structured than a formal assessment. So I think that that's a great way that you can go about it too, and understand what the overall ecosystem already looks like.
I would also recommend focusing on incentives, because I think both academics and students, they need incentives. Why should you focus on innovation, for instance? Why should you be involved in entrepreneurship? We find that if we can talk to students and tell them, you know what, if you're looking for a job afterwards, if you can show that you've been involved in student entrepreneurship, it is a huge experience that you wouldn't be able to gain otherwise. Companies are looking for people who's innovative and creative, showing that you are involved in student entrepreneurship. It really is a practical example. So, finding the incentives that works for your student group, I think also is just a good tip. That I think is very easy to forget, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, any other? Yeah. No. Andrea, do you wanna say anything?
No, all good on my side.
Okay, I think that we are gonna wrap up. I would like to reinforce the idea for all the partners that are part of the CinnovatE project. For us, this project is some kind of beachhead for many of the initiatives we were, planning to run in the future and in the coming years. It was like an excuse for many of these initiatives to become real. Also, it is very insightful how this project is breaking silos internally because of these incentives you have. Together with the ecosystem we are setting up. The funding is also important. It is a way of bridging collaboration internally, and we value as a way of driving innovation internally. I think that we all agree that it is a lever for change internally in the four universities, and as well as South Summit and Income as well. So thank you very much. That's all. We have a break, right? 15 minutes. So thank you.
Thank you.